Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's hearing. My name is Alan Stevenson. I'm the Deputy City Manager here today, and this is our 8th of 11 virtual budget hearings, and the city will be hosting this year to introduce the fiscal year 2022-23 trial budget. The feedback we received today and throughout the budget hearing process is extremely important to us as we formulate the proposed budget to present to the City Council. The proposed budget will be presented to the City Council on May 3rd and voted on May 17th. These hearings will be recorded and streamed on our YouTube channel. For those of you who do not wish to speak today, you can leave a comment at Phoenix.gov/budget. Another way to participate is through the Fund Phoenix interactive budget tool. This interactive tool lets you provide direct feedback on the proposed budget. I would like to now turn over to Councilwoman Yasemin Ansari for a couple of opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Alan, who's here today representing all the city staff who've worked so hard to put this trial budget together. I think it's a very strong start, and there's a lot in it to be excited about. I started my first week in office with my first budget hearing, and I'm ending my first year in office quite literally the same way. I'm even wearing the same jacket. I've been reflecting on our biggest wins of the year and working hard to determine how we can improve the lives of Phoenicians now through 2023. My team and I have been able to deliver meaningful results for every corner of our district, and more importantly, our entire council has worked together to tackle ongoing crises in the city. Whether it's a climate crisis, an affordable housing crisis, a public health crisis, and all the while not cutting any critical city services. A few highlights from the past year. During last year's budget, we were able to deliver some of the basics. We secured funds to build 2 new parks serving Levine families and 1 new park in Tolleson that the community had been promised for over 20 years. We voted to invest $15 million in our community assistance program, which will ensure that trained social workers and mental health professionals can respond to 911 calls that require such support. And on climate action, we advocated for a bolder climate action plan and created the country's first publicly funded Office of Heat Response and Mitigation. There's a lot in this year's trial budget that I'm very much looking forward to as well. I'm very much particularly happy to see that this one adds an assistant city manager position to oversee our strategies to address homelessness plan, and that we're adding more capacity to the Phoenix Cares team, as well as a project management assistant position to help address blight in private properties near the Human Services campus. I've had many meetings with the neighborhoods around this area, including the Madison Pioneers and the Oakland neighborhood, and this is something that they have specifically asked for, so happy to see that already in the trial budget. I'm also very happy to see $30 million set aside for employee compensation. City employees are incredibly hardworking, and especially over the past 2+ years of the pandemic, we should make sure we have set aside funds in case there's an economic downturn and to stay competitive. We need the brightest minds continuing to work for the City of Phoenix to help implement solutions. All in all, this meeting was put together to hear from the public, so very excited to hear from District 7 residents and other Phoenicians today to see what you like, what you might not like, or what you think we might need more of for this year's trial budget. So thank you so much, and looking forward to the opportunity.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And now before we begin the comments, we will watch a brief video, and then we'd like to introduce the interpreter for today's meeting, Elsie Duarte, and they're going to say a few words, and then we'll watch the video.
Dirá unas palabras y después introduciremos el video. Hello, my name is Elsie Duarte, and along with my colleague Carmen Cota, we will be serving as interpreters for today's virtual budget audience. I will now introduce myself to our Spanish-speaking audience. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Elsie Duarte y junto con mi colega Carmen Cota estaremos sirviéndoles hoy como intérpretes en la audiencia virtual del presupuesto operativo. Al momento de hacer un comentario público, de favor les pedimos que hable despacio, con claridad y deténgase después de cada pocas oraciones para interpretarle de la manera más completa posible. Ahora les indicaré cómo acceder a la reunión en español desde su teléfono. Llame al 602-666-0783. Introduzca el número de junta 2499-344-9146, seguido del símbolo de número. Nuevamente introduzca el símbolo de número cuando se le solicite el número de identificación o ID de asistente. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll show the budget video highlighting what's in the fiscal year 22-23 proposed budget. Immediately following the video, we'll move to the speaker comments.
The City of Phoenix trial budget for fiscal year 2022-2023, proposed by the Phoenix City Manager, is ready for public review and comment. A trial budget is a rough draft of the actual budget, estimating how much money and how it will be used for the next fiscal year. How does Phoenix's annual budget work? The city budget is made up of three parts: the general fund, enterprise funds, and special revenue funds. The general fund is made up of general sales tax, property taxes, revenue distributed by the state from income tax, sales and vehicle taxes, and some fines and fees. The general fund supports many of the services our residents, visitors, and businesses have come to expect in Phoenix libraries, parks, senior and youth programs, and police and fire services. Enterprise funds come from departments that only charge the people who use their services directly, like water and sewer, airlines and passengers at Sky Harbor, and trash and recycling customers. Finally, special revenue funds, earmarked for specific purposes from grants and voter-approved sales taxes dedicated for parks and preserves, transportation, and public safety. That's how Phoenix gets its money. Now, how do we spend it? Phoenix has a long history of public budgeting, giving the community a voice in the future of our city by starting the public involvement much earlier than required. Each year, departments look at what it will take to provide services for the upcoming year, and staff forecast what resources will be available to pay for services. The city manager proposes a trial budget that identifies programs and services that build a better, more inclusive city for all, and will keep the budget balanced. Then we ask for your input at community budget hearings, or by using the Fund Phoenix Interactive Budget Tool, or by contacting the city directly to ensure the budget reflects the priorities of our residents and City Council. After receiving your input, the City Council will vote on the budget in May and legally adopt the budget in June each year. The law requires the city's budget to be balanced each year, and this year we are happy to report a projected budget surplus of $76 million. This is thanks to Phoenix's continued strong economy and sound fiscal leadership from the Mayor and City Council. For fiscal year 2022-23, the proposed general fund trial budget includes $21 million to address important needs raised by the council and community, and $55 million in set-asides that could be used for employee compensation, city council priorities next year or in future years, or if needed, provide for budget flexibility. The $21 million in supplementals for next fiscal year is proposed for City Council and community priority areas, including Focus Area 1, Affordable Housing. $1.5 million is proposed for affordable housing to continue necessary support to low-income residents, such as homelessness prevention and funding for Phoenix Starfish Place, which is dedicated to healing and empowering human trafficking survivors. Focus Area 2, Climate and Sustainability. A proposed $1.3 million to create positions dedicated to climate and sustainability initiatives to achieve the goals of the council-approved Climate Action Plan, and to continue funding for the city's award-winning Cool Pavement Program to further help mitigate heat in the city. The funds would also create a position within the city focused on studying the benefits of electric vehicle infrastructure, along with a dedicated climate action plan manager to work toward achieving the goals of the council-approved Climate Action Plan. Focus Area 3, Economic Development, Planning, and Innovation. $1.6 million is proposed to keep Phoenix competitive in the global market. Proposed additions include positions for the Community and Economic Development Department to formalize an international trade program to remain competitive with global markets, enhance marketing opportunities to increase jobs, and resources to target vacant storefronts to create new retail centers. Staffing will also be added to help achieve City Council priority projects, such as transit-oriented development and the Housing Phoenix Plan. Focus Area 4, Historic Preservation and Arts. The city's art collection is in need of refurbishment, and historic buildings need to be protected, which is why the city is proposing $200,000 to invest in historic preservation grants and to provide increased funding for the Office of Arts and Culture, including arts grants to enhance programming to youth and artists in the community. Focus Area 5, Homelessness, Immigrant, Refugee Support, and Fast Track Cities. $3 million and 17 new positions are proposed to assist the city's growing homeless, immigrant, and refugee populations. The proposed money would help achieve the goals of the council-approved Strategies to Address Homelessness Plan and expand the CARES program that connects individuals to needed services, and a new navigator dedicated to helping immigrants and refugees transitioning into the community, and ongoing funding of $250,000 for the Fast Track Cities initiative. Focus Area 6, Parks and Recreation and Library. To enhance community services, $2.7 million is proposed to the Parks and Recreation Department and the Library Department for enhanced after-school programming at Phoenix after-school centers. Money would also launch a new bookmobile to provide library programming in the Southwest Valley. Focus Area 7, Public Safety and Criminal Justice. $6.3 million is proposed to add more fire sworn personnel to meet minimum staffing requirements. The 19th Avenue Corridor Community Safety and Crime Prevention Plan, and case management support for municipal court to help victims of domestic violence, and new attorney positions for Public Defender's Office for the Veterans and Mental Health Specialty Courts. The proposal also includes using the Phoenix Police Department's existing operating budget to increase the number of civilian positions, allowing sworn personnel to return to the field to respond to calls for service. Focus Area 8, Roadway Safety. Pedestrian and roadway safety is crucial for city streets. $600,000 is proposed to increase annual resources for the City Council-approved Roadway Safety Action Plan. The proposed fiscal year 2022-23 trial budget also includes new positions and needed resources for city enterprise and special revenue funds due to growth and increased demand for services, including additions for aviation, development services, solid waste, transit, and water services. This has been just a taste of what you will find in the 2022-23 City of Phoenix proposed trial budget. More information on the proposed budget is available at our website, Phoenix.gov/budget. We encourage you to use our Fun Phoenix interactive tool to provide input, an interactive budget tool that lets you provide direct feedback on the proposed fiscal year 2022-23 trial budget additions. We hope that you'll review additional details in the Budget Tabloid, available online at Phoenix.gov/budget. Please share your feedback in whatever way works best for you, at one of the virtual community budget hearings, or by email at budget.research@phoenix.gov. You can comment on the city's social media pages at CityofPhoenixAZ on Facebook or Twitter, and use hashtag PHXBudget, or call us at 602-262-4800. The city manager will present his proposed budget for 2022-23 to the Phoenix City Council on May 3rd, 2022. The council's budget decision will take place on May 17th, 2022. Thank you for being part of this important process. We look forward to hearing your ideas for this year's trial budget and the future of Phoenix.
We will now read the hearing conduct statement, then begin calling the names of the speakers. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on the proposed budget. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, community members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules will lose the opportunity to continue to speak. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending claims or litigation. I will now start with the speakers list. Our first speaker is Bill Scheel, followed by Max Clark. Bill, are you on the line?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may proceed.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak this evening. I am a District 7 resident, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the budget recommendation for funds for a threatened building fund for historic preservation. The Historic Preservation Commission requested $600,000 for this fund. The city manager's budget contains $200,000. I would respectfully request that the council consider increasing that $200,000 so that we can save more historic buildings in Phoenix, and particularly downtown Phoenix, where we have many threatened historic buildings, and the city needs resources to protect those buildings. We used to have millions of dollars in bond funds. Those bond funds expired years ago, and we see historic buildings being torn down on a regular basis because we do not have the tools to help property owners save those buildings. So this is in large part an economic development issue where more money from the city to save historic buildings can create jobs, it can create economic vitality, and it can help protect historic resources. Thank you very much, and again, appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Max, followed by Denise Sotelo. Max, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may proceed.
Thank you. Councilmember Ansari, thank you for your recent vote to reduce car crashes and collisions in Phoenix. This strong statement demonstrates your leadership and commitment to the safety of Phoenix road users. When you passed this ordinance in March, you made a step in the right direction, but there was not a serious level of funding attached or identified starting this year on July 1st. To that end, I ask that you modify the trial budget to invest an additional $5 per city resident to ensure the safety of all people who use the roads of Phoenix. This is approximately $9 million, much higher than the additional 33 cents per resident proposed in the trial budget at $600,000. The budget department and city managers have specifically suggested that $32 million of the surplus could be used to provide new programs and services that are in council and community priority areas. So what greater priority do city council members have than to ensure the safety of its citizens? This is certainly a priority for me and my community. Every year, there are 3,000 to 4,500 car, truck, and motorcycle crashes in Council District 7. These collisions result in about 1,600 to 2,300 injuries and about 14 to 29 fatalities in Council District 7. These numbers concern me greatly, and I'm sure they concern you as well. And FYI, Districts 7, 5, 4, and 8 have the highest numbers of crashes at 60% and higher fatalities, 63% in the city of Phoenix. So in all the brown districts, there's a lot of crashes and fatalities and mayhem. So there's no need to wait for federal dollars as suggested in earlier budget hearings. Small changes and perhaps an audit can now lead to better outcomes for people, moms, dads, and families of District 7. Speeding cameras and red light cameras are used in Paradise Valley and were previously used in the Phoenix city with great success. Please bring them back. Please get the little things right. Last year, there was a line item in the budget that called for 1,800 trees to be planted annually by street transportation. Did this happen? Our streets need to be shaded if we want people to walk on them. Current signal timing practices encourage speeding, and these also need to be changed. People are forced to take unnecessary risk, forced to make bad decisions. Employee design streets and street plan design guidelines that have not been changed since 2009. These bad choices result in mayhem and destruction. Please, please, please invest $9 million for our citizens' Phoenix. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Denise, followed by Sarah Nelson. Denise, are you on the line?
Hi, what's up, y'all? I'm going to go ahead and get straight to the point because I'd like to clarify just a few things for those who are on council. After sitting meetings with and, after viewing results of thousands of surveys, some of y'all still confused. So let me just say, you guys got $198 million for this city from the federal government, and y'all about to get your second round. Y'all only gave $9 million to mental health resources that are currently understaffed and ineffective. You can't put that cape on just yet. So the community does not think this is enough. The population of those who need mental health assistance and drug addiction services continue to grow by the month, especially during this active pandemic. Lovely masks, by the way. We want and we need $10 million more that would go to a committee health that would actually be held by community members. So they'd be professionals, y'all, who they specialize in mental health disorders and human behavior, not racist class training recruits that support white supremacy and murder like the Phoenix PD do. Example would be doctors, therapists, behavioral coaches, social workers, and humans who care about life. They would make the decisions on how to increase long-term health and safety for our neighborhoods without police or prisons. I shouldn't be living 10 years less than the people in North Phoenix just because I live where I do now in District 7. I know what you and probably everybody else is thinking, right? Like, this sounds like something y'all should be doing, and it could be if y'all was doing what you guys were voted to and you guys actually listened to the community. So safety is free childcare, program for youth, living wages for all people, affordable housing for all people, and for all people to have the health care they need. I hope this helps.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sarah, followed by Annie Eldon. Sarah, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
We can hear you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Sarah Nelson, and I'm a lifelong resident of District 7. Thank you, Councilmember Ansari and staff for hosting this hearing. I'm calling today to request for additional funding to be provided to the Public Works Department in order to create a program that would provide sharp container drop-off collection sites across the city. Currently, there are no publicly accessible ways to properly dispose of sharp containers for Phoenix residents, as Public Works does not accept them as household hazardous waste, and neither the county or state run a program to properly dispose of sharps. This means that residents are left with two unideal options. The first is to pay out of pocket to companies that dispose of sharps, but considering the high costs of injectable medications such as insulin and Dupixent, many chronically ill or disabled people, including myself, cannot afford to do this. The second option is to dispose of sharps in household trash. While this is not illegal, the EPA no longer recommends people to do this, as the processing of sharp containers in the trash puts sanitation workers at risk of being stabbed by needles and of subsequent exposure to biohazardous materials. To address this issue, I'm asking for the city to provide funding for sharp container drop-off collection sites, which can be set up at places such as local fire stations, and for the department to hire a contractor who specializes in the disposal of biohazardous waste to properly dispose of sharps so residents and sanitation workers are not put at risk. As a person who has to self-inject medication multiple times a month, I personally know how much a service like this is needed for the thousands of Phoenix residents that use sharp containers because of their medical needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Annie, followed by Carrie McNeish. Annie, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may proceed.
Great. Honorable Councilwoman Ansari, thank you for holding this meeting to hear the desires of the citizens of our great city of Phoenix and how we would like to have our tax dollars be spent. My name is Annie Eldon, and I am a resident of District 4 and a board member for Phoenix Spokespeople, a bicycle nonprofit here in Phoenix. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of Phoenix Spokespeople to urge you to raise the amount allocated to the Road Safety Action Plan from $600,000 to $9 million, which is only $5 per resident. This plan upholds Vision Zero, a worldwide movement to have zero deaths on the roads. A fatal crash happens every 2.2 days in Phoenix. This could be your friend, your daughter, your grandpa. By adding roadway safety projects such as traffic lights, wider sidewalks, protected bike lanes, hawk signals, and crosswalks, countless lives and thousands of dollars will be saved on recovering from crashes with cars. Personally, I have been hit by a car while biking home from work. Luckily, the car was going slow enough that I was not hurt and there were no damages. However, if that car had been going even just 5 miles per hour faster, I might not be here today. The thought is terrifying. Therefore, on a personal note, and as a Phoenix Spokespeople Board member, I urge you to allocate $9 million to the Road Safety Action Plan to ensure that I and many others will see another day. Something that is often forgotten is the fact that many of the casualties from car crashes are people who are homeless. So I also fully support more funds going toward creating shelters and resources for the people who are struggling with homelessness. I want to especially thank you, Councilwoman Ansari, for voting for Vision Zero and for supporting our campaign to get safer bike lanes on Fillmore from Central to 7th Street. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Carrie, followed by Frank Grenier. Carrie, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Council members and Mayor. My name is Carrie McNeish. I'm speaking on behalf of Pickleball at Desert Foothills Park, which is a grassroots community group of currently over 900 people that would like to see at least 8 dedicated pickleball courts and a parking lot added to our community park. During the District 6 budget meeting, Councilman DeCiccio indicated he would support the effort of resurfacing and dual-purposing the existing 2 tennis courts, but this is only an interim solution as these courts needed to be updated anyway in order to be used. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. It's safe, inclusive, it's great for physical and mental health. It has grown 40% in the last 2 years, and in Arizona specifically, pickleball league play has grown over 175%, surpassing tennis. In fact, our Foothills Grade School Sierra just received a state grant to introduce pickleball to all the students. The Foothills is still growing. An additional 1,000 homes are being added this year. Desert Foothills Park has never been finished in the last 25 years. It has a large gravel area that's currently used for illegal dumping and at times criminal activity. It is bordered by a major road, sports fields, and very few homes, which makes it ideal for these courts. And as with other parks, increased activity due to pickleball can not only help better the area, but reduce crime. This would also support the city's green initiatives as we could walk or bike to play pickleball rather than driving to Pecos. Pecos Park, bordering Tempe and Chandler, is the only city park in Ahwatukee with pickleball courts. It's an awesome park. However, we estimate that over half the people playing do not reside in Ahwatukee. Players here are facing full courts and long waits. We know that the sport is growing in popularity, and the problem that these courts will continue to get worse. Tempe, Gilbert, and Chandler are all making new pickleball courts a priority, and we are hoping that Phoenix will too. While we support many of these other city budget items, we are asking the city to allocate funds for this project. We understand various monies are available and can be used to complete both the resurfacing and add the new courts and parking lot. We have sent our full project presentation to each council office and are open for feedback or questions. Thanks so much again for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Frank, followed by Stasia Hurst. Frank, are you on the line? Frank is not on the line. Our next speaker is Stasia Hurst, followed by Cindy Goggin. Stasia, are you on the line?
Hello, this is Stasia. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may proceed.
Hello, and thank you, City Manager and Councilwoman Ansari. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Stasia Hurst. I'm a native Phoenician, been living in District 3 my whole life. I'm an active community board member with the Phoenix Love Block Watch, the Sunny Slope Village Alliance, and the Phoenix Mountain Preservation Council. I'm speaking today as a neighborhood enthusiast and a community activist. I do support this trial budget, and I encourage you to support more funding for our Park Ranger Department, including Park Ranger patrol abilities, urban ranger groups for enforcement, ranger-led programs, and trail maintenance. Maintaining invasive weeds is a critical time right now to increase funding for public safety to protect the natural desert habitat and prevent fire danger. I'd also encourage you to support more funds for the Phoenix Police Department in order to bring back our CAOs, net squads, and bike squads. These are all essential resources that Block Watch groups depend on for transparency, guidance, and support. We need police involvement to protect the innocent. While homelessness is not a crime, please remember that drug use, drug distribution, trespassing on private property, open fires, littering, Open containers and illegal dumping are all crimes. Human feces, dangerous broken glass, soiled clothing, and needles left on public sidewalks are dangerous to our health. We need resources to prevent criminal behavior that are making our streets unsafe to walk in, drive through, live in, and work in. I support funding for strategies to help mental health services and the placement of social services that is equitable for each of our council districts. I also support drug prevention and sex crime education programs. Our neighborhood currently has hundreds of sex offenders living in the community, many on the same blocks as our elementary schools. A 300% increase is oversaturation and requires public education programs, outreach, and protection for our youth. Please take these into consideration, especially with ARPA funds. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you having us. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Cindy, followed by Stephanie Gonzalez Espinosa. Cindy, are you on the line?
I am.
We can hear you.
For the record, thanks. For the record, my name is Cindy Gahn, and I speak on behalf of Phoenix Community Alliance members. And we do support the trial budget. Everything that we've mentioned so far has been very important. The $1.5 million for affordable housing, permanent supportive housing, homelessness prevention. Also the $1.3 million for climate and sustainability, especially as it relates to the climate action plan, electric vehicles and cool pavement programs. In addition, the $1.6 million for economic development, planning and innovation. And the $0.3 million for historic preservation. As Bill Shields stated, we urge the City Council to allocate additional funding for preserving threatened buildings and exterior rehabilitation of historic buildings, and increasing funding for the Office of Arts and Culture as well. Our historic buildings are rapidly disappearing. We need to do what we can to preserve them and maintain the texture and the culture that we have downtown in particular. $3 million for homelessness, immigrant, refugee support, $2.7 million for parks and recreation with special consideration for urban parks such as Hans Park, $6.3 million for public safety and criminal justice, and $0.6 million for road safety, which is Vision Zero, understanding that there are federal funds coming as well. We also support the 31 positions for aviation and enterprise fund, 10 positions for planning and development, the $0.9 million, and 6 positions for public transit, and 12 positions for street transportation department. We look forward to working closely with the City of Phoenix. We appreciate all that you do, and thank you for your service to our city.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Stephanie, followed by Nadine Aloria. Stephanie, are you online?
Yes, hi, thank you. I'm Stephanie. I'm here on behalf of my community in Phoenix. We have been speaking to council members for a while now regarding community priorities and concerns. Just in the past year, we've spoken to over 64,000 families and individuals in these communities regarding what are their needs and their concerns. And we met with council members, and they say they're with us and supporting us, but this is not being reflected on the city budget nor the ARPA budget. And we need you to invest $10 million in a community-led public health and safety committee to find effective and permanent solutions for mental health and substance use crisis. We don't need more police in our streets. We don't need the criminalization of our folks, of our youth to continue any longer. This has severely affected so many families. We've lost so many youth in their hands, and locking them up is not the answer. We need services for them to help them get out of the streets, to help whatever crisis they're going through, mental or substance use. They deserve to be treated with dignity and respect and love, and we need to care for them because they are a part of our community. We need this investment now. We've been talking about it with council members. We are trying to push this forward. We need to provide economic assistance to BIPOC mental health providers seeking training and postgraduate education. We need culturally competent therapists and mental health providers who can actually support effectively our brown and black communities. We need to install and maintain safe syringe disposal containers in our parks and public places. But those are our main demands for this. We have not seen any proposals for mental health. We can't keep throwing money at programs that are not working for us. We need to find new permanent solutions led by experts and community led that can find these resources to actually get to our people. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Nadine Aloria. Nadine, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. You may proceed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, City Manager and council members for hearing me today. My name is Nadine Aloria. I'm a Phoenix native and very active community member in D3 and work with many community leaders and groups in D5 as well. I'm a board member of Hatcher Urban Businesses Business Alliance in Sunny Slope. It's very concerning and disappointing to me that more funds were not allocated to the Phoenix Police Department to hire more officers. Right now we absolutely cannot be cutting CAOs and a net squad to add just 24 patrol officers. It's just not a viable solution. Neighborhood groups rely heavily on our CAOs, and we definitely can't cut back on drug busts, that's for sure. We really need to be pushing to hire more officers for our great city of Phoenix. Another issue, we have seen great improvements and crime reduction with the gated alley program that was piloted here in Sunny Slope, and it would be wonderful to have that completed and expanded. I'm sure it would increase the safety and reduce crime in all of the areas of Phoenix where there are alleys that could be gated. I would really like to see the city and state start to allocate resources and funds to drug education so we can get ahead of this drug epidemic. We can't just always focus on rehab and damage control end of this, the drug situation. We'll never get ahead of it. Kids are overdosing every day in Phoenix and all around Arizona. Lastly, we do need our park rangers to patrol parks much more often. There are drug deals happening daily in broad daylight in way too many parks around Phoenix. The ones I know of, especially in District 5 and District 3. It's just very unsafe for everyone, even the staff, even the city staff that are at the community centers at these parks. Thank you so much for hearing me today.
Thank you, and that's all of our speakers for this evening. And for some final comments to close us out here, I will turn it over to Councilwoman Ansari.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank every single person who called in today. Whether you were a District 7 resident or from across the city of Phoenix, your voices are absolutely critical over the course of the next couple weeks and as we continue to look at the trial budget. Just want to cover a couple of the things that I heard today. We had folks calling in about increased support for historic reservation, several individuals calling about the roadway safety action plan and implementation, following the vote most recently about Vision Zero, support for mental health care, improving and enhancing parks and recreation opportunities, arts and culture, gated alleyway program, and also very much want to acknowledge the support for some of the pieces that are already in there, such as support for more affordable housing funding, police, climate, planning and development, streets, economic development. But I think the diversity of thought today really showed that there are still areas in which people want to see more and more commitment from the city of Phoenix. So I share many of these priorities. We'll continue to advocate on behalf of District 7 residents. And if anyone's still on the call who called in today, I encourage you to keep calling. I think we recognize it's a big commitment on your end, and this is during the workday or right after work, but your voices really do matter and they will make an impact. Tomorrow we have a policy meeting about American Rescue Plan fund dollars, another citywide hearing on Wednesday. District 7 will be hosting another in-person budget hearing in the Estrella region of the district. That's Thursday, April 14th. And again, there will be more over the coming weeks. So please continue to be engaged. We really, really appreciate your involvement and just want to thank everyone again for being here today. And thank you to Alan and Amber and city staff for all of your continued hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ansari, and this concludes our hearing for this evening. Thank you all very much.
these highly vulnerable populations, whether it was those who were currently in shelter in overflow, but they're sleeping in their wheelchairs, right? Because they can't get down on the floor. But here, at least we can get you on that bottom bunk, right? How do we identify those? And so then I thought of a very specific story, but I'm going to hold names because I want to respect people's privacy. But about a year ago, well now a year and a half ago in January, it was MLK Day, and this voice,